United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, other than coming in and bugging the staff every once in a while, well, I don't really bug them because they're so busy with helping customers, have not been very active meeting-wise. As far as tonight, we do have two public hearings that we will recess for. One at 6:30 for the Fangmeyer Utility Easement Vacation public hearing, and at 6:45 for the Gerke Utility Easement Vacation public hearing. And towards the end of the meeting, we'll be going into closed session to determine an offer on real property located at 810 Beekman Drive out in Business Park Plat 2. And have a request to move up item C under old business. Fire department's got some other things going on, so the chief should be participating in that. And item H, we're going to pull that, and they're working on maybe downsizing or something, considering limitations for meetings, and that'll come back at a later time. That's it for my report. Councilmember Herzberg?
We just got done with Public Works, and I think we had a work session, didn't we?
Probably. Or phase 2 of the work session.
I think it was, yes.
Phase 2, that's right. Councilmember Renke?
Yeah, we had phase 2 of our working session and then a quick, brief little policies and procedures meeting last week.
Quick and brief.
Or not.
Or not, yeah. It's hard to tell when you're joshing if you can't see your smile.
I'm joshing. True story.
Councilmember Gilmore?
Working session, park and tree, and a little bit longer policy and procedure meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you. We have a couple department head reports. We'll start with Mr. Mergen.
Okay, thank you. First of all, the source water protection grant is completed. Remember that we had the well transducers on that, the wellhead newsletter, and the water festival. Obviously, the water festival portion was canceled, but that's the part that did entail the science museum that we did sponsor for the school. That part they were able to have yet. That total amount was just about $9,000. It's $89.68. Get specific. The summer cleanup is going to be on the 25th of July. That is again up at the Township Hall or the hockey arena. The splash pad, we finally got everything in that the Lions Club had donated. Great thank you to the Lions Club for sponsoring that. That is again the water cannon and that flower tower. So if you see them out there, yes, they are donated by the Lions Club. Concert in the Park series is still going on for another several weeks. We did complete the seal coating and the crack sealing. The only part left with that is the striping, and we want to let the fog coat seal a little bit before we put any paint on there. And then this week we are also in the process of doing all our lead and copper, which we need to do once every 3 years. So, all I have.
Any questions for Ron? All right, Ms. Ludwig.
I don't have a whole lot, but we are working on the preliminary budget that was given to Budget and Finance last week, I believe. The administration position went live today to the public. In motor vehicle world, we are closing the door at 4 o'clock to try to get through our line, and that does seem to be helping quite a bit. I did June balancing for the filing fees for the 3 different departments. Driver's license, we tripled the filing fees in June, so we made up for the 8 weeks that we were closed. DNR and driver's license, or DNR and motor vehicle, we doubled our normal average amount in June. So that also potentially would make up for some of those fees we missed out on. And overtime, we're averaging, I would say most employees are averaging maybe 5, a little over 5 per week. So.
Okay. Questions for Belinda? All right, Mr. Soini, Chief Soini.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Start off with, I have calls from March through June. We have about 45 calls, and yes, 7 of them are gas leaks. We don't know why, but gas leaks are high. So as the city's noticed. Update on our new hire, we do have Jessica Stransky. She is taking her EMR training course right now. She started that this month, and currently we have 2 positions that are open on the fire department. If you wish, we could start hiring, but otherwise I do have 1 more position that will be coming up. In August, I will have somebody resigning. So just kind of an FYI there, we'll probably have to do something in August at that point if we don't right away. The last 4 months of training, kind of the standard stuff: ropes, portable pumps, grain bin rescue, gravity boxes, some auto extrication, worked with the stabilizers that we got, and then we worked on hydrant lays and pump operation as well. And then we did our EMR refresher class, and we also did a controlled burn this spring. So that was a little bit extra that we usually do or have done. So some of the planned purchases, or at least 1 major purchase we were planning on doing, is a ladder for the back of Unit 12 instead of the steps that are on there, or the little blocks, I guess, kind of like mountain climbing. We're going to put a ladder on there, and it's about $1,300, and half is going to come from undesignated, and the other half will be from Relief Association. So that's what I got.
Okay, questions for Andy? A lot of people think you just show up Monday nights and have fun.
Ooh, one day pretty soon.
All right, thank you. And the other half of the Ludwig team.
Yes, Your Honor, you'll see on your desk, I laid down our update since the first of the year through June. I won't go through everything, but right now, as of the end of June, we were up 217,000, up 32% over last year, and that's all COVID. A lot of it's COVID related. As of this morning, we're up 235,000. So you can see all of our numbers as follows. We did have our second biggest day on July 3rd. We did $21,000, and it was a fun day. We did go back to normal hours, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. to take care of our summer customers. Took a couple days to get used to those hours going back to 10 p.m. of closing, but we're starting to see those numbers go up. Just so the public knows, you might come in and your favorite item might be out of stock. There are alcohol shortages everywhere. There's also aluminum can shortage. So we're getting parts of our orders. I ordered 2,500 cases just for the 4th of July, and I got 1,600. And some of the different size cans are the ones that they're struggling to make. So I spend part of my day looking for products. And they are trying to figure out what they're going to do with the shutdowns that the breweries had. They're having troubles keeping up right now. And just so people know as well, Wine Club is on hold. Right now the vendors aren't doing any samplings, and until we hear further, we'll take a look at that as fall comes. We also did 2 fund drives for the Hawk Animal Shelter. We took down 4 boxes of product and some money for them, and then the Folds of Honor. I want to thank everybody that donated to that. And then I was just talking to Chief Sweeney. August is our second annual fire department with Coors Banquet, and we're going to do another Friday night. Right now we're tentatively looking at August 14th, where we'll grill out like we did last year, but we'll check the rules, regulations, make sure we're all safe there. But there's a lot of information in there. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email or call. That's my report.
Thank you. Questions for Bill? All right, hearing none, we have the consent agenda before us, which include the minutes of those 10 meetings listed on page 1, the vouchers on page 2, totaling $570,482.33.
I'll move the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Rinky, seconded by Herzberg. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, carried. And then, as I said, we'll move up item C under old business to get the chief out of here, and the guests can stay if they want. It doesn't look like they're going to. All right, we have 2 proposals here. Andy.
All right, we've been working on the wellness plan for a while, and I've got 2 proposals, one through the fitness center and one through Snap Fitness. I do have Chris Price here to share a little bit on his thoughts about why we should go with Snap. But basically, you compare the 2 offers, they're pretty similar until you get right to the actual dollar value. It's approximately $20 per firefighter through SNAP, and I think it's $12 per firefighter through the fitness center. The big difference, or the only big difference besides the dollars, the fitness center will require that we have 10 people signed up at all times. So that would be, I believe it's 10, maybe it was 13. I thought it was 10, sorry. So that would be the only, 10 members is mandatory. So right now I have 13 people that were signed up when we were initiating it as Snap Fitness. I do not know who would switch sides for sure. But I'm guessing it'll be about the same, about 15 people, 13 to 15 people either way. And then if you don't mind, I'll allow Chris to share his thoughts or reasons, if that's okay.
Approach microphone, or is this all right? Distancing?
That'll be okay, I guess.
Okay, so my name is Chris Price, my wife Heather. We own and operate Snap Fitness out there, rent from Roger Teal. We have a full-time trainer, Amy Carlson, and we have some part-time staff that helps us with the cleaning. A little bit about the facility. We just recently, with the COVID shutdown, we went through an expansion. We added on roughly 250 square feet of exercise area into an interactive fit program where people can come in and not just do your basic workout with free weights or cardio. It goes along with a TV screen, moves you through your workout program. So besides that, we did do some flooring, some rework, things along those lines. Full line of free weights, weighted machines, new cardio equipment in the last 18 months. And I'll just be open for questions if there is any on it.
Anybody? Okay, we do not have anybody here from the Hazel Fitness Center, so is there a recommendation from the department?
The fire department would prefer to go through the Snap Fitness, mainly to support one of our own and a local business, where the school is a little bit funded by the school itself or the state. So we were just leaning towards that direction to keep the business in town, but ultimately I'm leaving the decision up to you as the council.
Are we're obligated to go with the lowest price? No?
You're not absolutely obligated to, but generally you take the lowest qualified bidder, and I mean, unless there's, in these things, you're generally not comparing exactly apples to apples, so you're entitled to use a little bit of judgment if you think there's a difference in terms of what you're getting, but, if you believe that they're identical, I don't think you could justify not going with the lowest bid, but.
Because I know some of the things we are
what?
obligated to go to the lowest bidder.
No, generally I think you are. It's just sometimes things aren't exactly the same. I mean, you're not buying two Ford, vehicles that are identically equipped here. It's
Okay.
I couldn't tell you all the differences, but
Well, then we can go anywhere we want.
yeah, I mean, I think if you have a reason for it, you can pick something different here, because I assume there's some differences, and I think they've explained things about their equipment. I don't know the equipment at the other facility, so I wouldn't be able to tell you their side of the story.
Yeah, there, some minor differences in how the bid is, or the proposal is presented, and
Right, I just wanted to make sure we can do what we wanted to do.
What's the actual difference? It looks like our,
When I calculated out 13 memberships at the fitness center, $156 a piece, that's, for the 12 months, it's $2,028. And option one, or offer one through Snap Fitness, times 12 months is $3,120 a year plus tax. And option two would be $4,800 a year plus tax plus card fee of $60 to $100. If I read the paperwork properly.
And
So
just
do that
to-
again, can you do that again, Belinda?
Yeah, The fitness center, I have down the 156 times 13
It should be 156 per month for 13.
is
So it's 13 memberships,
$2,028.
$4.
What is it, 2008?
2028.
Okay.
2028.
It's, if you go right underneath the fitness membership special, 13 memberships times 24 months is $312 per month is regular price. And then, or times $24, sorry. And that's divided by half is 156 per month. That is for 13 memberships. And then you multiply that by the full year, it'll be $1,872.
Oh, yep. I was looking at it as 13 firefighters. And then offer one for the Snap Fitness is $260. Times 12 months is $31.20 a year plus tax. And offer two is $4,800 a year plus tax, plus a card fee of $60 to $100, depending on if they want 3, 4, or 5 cards.
And then, the fitness center, it's a 50% discount, but it's that may not go into year 2. So
I
that's,
guess I don't know how to answer that. I never asked the question.
that'd be something to consider too. I mean, it's a 50% discount, but is that, just for year 1 or ongoing?
Right, Steve. Ours, we have no limitations on what it is. So there's 13 firefighters signed up right now. If 5 sign up, you get charged for 5. If 20 sign up, you get charged for 20. I have no bare minimum, and this price will stay for whatever the period of time is. We have members there of 11 years. We've never raised their rates once. So we don't have a minimum amount of people. Yes, we use the 13 number. I will also say to council that my offer will stay on the table if you go a different direction and the people that are currently at my facility decide not to use it and you don't hit the 13, we can come back to review it again. I have no bare minimum. If it's 5 people at my $20 a month, then it's $100. So we left it open so the city wasn't being charged for more people that were not using it. It's more of a per person deal. So.
We have an interesting decision. You know, in a small town, this happens quite often. You know, we have, you know, as Len alluded to, kind of an obligation to go with a lower price. We have an obligation, we have, you know, looking out for, you know, members of our community, businesses too, and we also have a kind of an obligation to the school department as a, or school and community ed as a partner in other things that we do, so fun.
Being on the fire department yourself, are you able to offer any like courses or classes that would be better geared towards the needs of that?
So absolutely, and that's where I talked a little bit on the interactive fitness. So a lot of the training for not only physical strength, but the mental strength and stability is interaction of cardio and free weight working out together, getting the mobility skills, and that's what we offer with the interactive fitness. You can go in there, as one advantage that we invest a lot of money into it. Anybody that doesn't necessarily work out can go in there, they can go up to the screen. There's 12 or 14 different items and equipment in that area. You start with round 1 and you just work yourself through. It needs no level of skill in the fact that it's put at the pace that you're able to work. So, and we do have that area to offer that too. I can't speak on what the other facility has for, you know, for those kind of programs. Yeah. And like I said, we do have a full-time trainer that, you know, will work with people, will work with groups of people, you know, things along those lines.
Oh,
I
chief.
have a question.
Yep.
I mean, as you look at what each has to offer, can your trainer put a program together for the firefighters that is conducive with the activities and everything else that they do? So obviously, you know, the day-to-day operations and activities of a firefighter are very different than just somebody who's looking to be physically fit. You know, you're dealing with back, carrying a tanks, those types of things. So
Right,
So
so
when you look at things that differentiate, is that something that your trainer could put together a program if they went with you for that purpose?
yes, absolutely, and even to the fire department, we didn't put out a public offer this year, but remember it's a 9/11, we'll do the 1,300 stair climb, right? Guys are allowed in there, full SCBA's, running the stair steppers, they can use the weighted bags, they range from 30 to 90 pounds, if they want to carry extra gear. We have rubber mauls, you know, that would be stimulating of using an axe, things of those matters that they can use in their training programs. We can cater the facility to anybody's needs. We do a lot of rehabilitation work with older people in the community that maybe had a knee replacement, things along those lines, all the way down to our, you know, newest weight benches and things we implement. So the other thing with our facility is 24/7. There's no restricted time because of practices or football teams or things along those lines. I mean, that gym is always, you know, available.
Problem I have is we can't ask or get those questions answered from the other facility at this time. So I'm not sure if we can compare apples to apples.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, the numbers that Belinda gave are pretty significantly different.
Yep.
You know,
We get some of those questions answered from like Matt or,
Did you want to maybe have them come to the next council meeting and do some of that? Is that what you're thinking, or?
that would be preferable, you know, one-on-one, so we can get the same questions answered and have a decent, you know, an honest comparison.
Okay.
And, you know, I would have no problem with either facility, you know, if we're within range.
And I will contact Matt and see if he can be here at the next council meeting.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm. Things are going okay since they've opened up over there now?
Oh, yeah. It's
Okay,
going well.
good. I drive by there a lot, but I don't stop in.
I don't see you though.
Bill does.
Thank you, Ron.
We also know.
Thank you.
And Teals. Julie sees me at Teals too. All right, then we have about 5 minutes to go here, so let's go back up to item A, the appointment of election judges on page 3. And if I recall, we have a list there, and then we have a request to authorize Kristen to give her permission to appoint judges in case of an emergency. And the ones that are listed are Kristen as the head judge, Stephanie Siraki, Janice Zumwalt, Margaret Swanson, Carolyn Sweeter, Shelley Bast, Amanda Wirtz, and David Easterday.
I move to appoint the election judges as listed on page 3 and authorize Kristen Leither to appoint additional election judges in case of an emergency.
Second.
Motion by Rinke, seconded by Gilmore. As on the action sheet, page 3. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. All right, chief? Couple cars to get rid of?
We do. So quite a while back, we talked about trying to get rid of the old Blue Squad, the 2011 Ford Crown Victoria. We actually sold it on eBay twice and never got payment for that. So after not getting payment, we retained that vehicle as a backup for the 2009 Crown Victoria. But now that that's been replaced with the Chevy Tahoe, we really do not need those vehicles. They are taking up a lot of space. So what I would like to do is I'd like to set both of them out at the RV dump like we have in the past and just open it up for a sealed bid. on those vehicles and see if we can get some better luck getting rid of them locally instead of doing a more extensive thing like we've done in the past, and then just dispose of them. And I'm not sure if we necessarily need to deem the 2011 as surplus or not, because we deemed it that once. But we kind of took it back, so if we could get that done, then we'd get rid of those vehicles as soon as we could.
And you don't plan on putting a minimum on these, right?
What's that?
You don't plan on putting them a minimum?
No.
Because, yeah, it might be,
Yeah, I don't think we'll get the value.
you're not getting a Kelly Blue Book
says.
out of both
Yeah.
put together.
The minimum is a sheet of paper in an envelope.
But we still have the right to reject bids if they don't come in.
Right.
You're gonna do some signage?
We'll put some signs out on, on the vehicles themselves, kind of like we've done in the past.
They submit the bid to City Hall.
Correct. Yep, and then what we'll do is, we'll get it in the paper, get it on Facebook, Life in Painesville. Try and get it into different locations, social media wise, to, hopefully get some, interest. I do know there's probably some interest out there. I know at least one person has indicated at least an interest in them. There may be a couple, so we should be able to get some bids and.
Marketplace is good. I'll make the motion then to approve the surplus of the 2009 Ford Crown Vic and 2011 Ford Crown Vic, with the funds being used to offset the cost of future squad car vehicles to be sold by sealed bid.
Second.
Motion by Herzberg, seconded by Gilmore to approve the surplus of those two vehicles as on page 4. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried? All right.
And real quick, Mayor, just on an update for you guys, I did speak with the insurance adjuster today on the squad I emailed you guys about. In talking with him, the vehicle will be totaled. So I will hopefully have some information later this week, he said, as to what we will be looking at from the city for the deer hit the other night.
Okay, I was gonna ask you, how was the deer?
I don't know if they ever found it.
Oh, okay.
So, I think they looked but couldn't find it, so I don't know.
Who knows then? Okay, we do have people assembling. We do have a couple minutes, so if we can go to item C, the right-of-way permit fees and bonding. Ron?
Sure, thank you. This came through the Public Works Department. Our current right-of-way fee for any excavation in town is $50. And that didn't matter if it was one excavation or if a boring company was going all the way across town. And one of the biggest reasons for this is to establish a restoration. So there's a damage deposit that goes with this, which we have never had in the past. The current recommendation is to keep it at $50 for a single excavation. So somebody that's hooking up to the water or sewer needs to go down, do a yard repair would still be that $50, but then for any multi-excavation or anybody who wants to go across town with a boring company would be $250, plus a minimum of the $2,500 damage deposit or restoration fee or degradation fee, I guess whichever one we want to call it. That would be up to $10,000 based on the cost or the estimate of what they're actually going to be doing. This did go through Public Works. Bill looked at it a couple times, and this is what we have recommended.
No, you said the minimum was 2,000 to 10,000 or 2,500 to 10,000?
2,500 to 10,000. And that is a damage deposit, which if they restore everything, put it back to its correct state, they get that back. But we have had a number in town where a company will come in and they don't leave it in the correct manner. We don't have a good tool to go back on them and restore it properly.
I'll make the motion to approve Resolution 2020-12, establishing right-of-way fees and bonding requirements.
Second.
Motion by Herzberg, seconded by Gilmore to approve Resolution 2020-12, establishing right-of-way fees and bonding requirements. Discussion. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? None? Carried. And it is 6:30. We will recess the council meeting and go into public hearing. The Fangmeyers are here and they're requesting a utility easement vacation for their property, and we are on page 66. And I'll take a minute to get down there, and I assume you're here to speak for the, and you're here for your own, so you're not here to speak against it, right?
Nope.
Okay, anyway, you have the 2 lots there, and looking to have that easement vacated. Any concerns from, any questions from the council? We've had the request before us. Anything from Public Works?
Oh, it looks good. The only thing, the proposed resolution to approve the request and specifically say that the resolution to approve reserves the easement at the road right of way in the front. Other than that, I don't, Public Works didn't seem to have any problem. Apparently there's no utilities in that right of way. It would only be along the street where there would ever be anything.
That's correct. Council, have any questions for the Fangmeyers?
I did have one neighbor call, and they were in full support of it.
Okay. Anything else for the hearing? We'll close the hearing and get back into the council meeting, and it would be appropriate to, as long as we're on page 66, if the council's so inclined to act on that.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2020-14 vacating that certain public way consisting of drainage and utility easements within Heatherwood Plat 3. Notice of completion of proceedings for vacation of public way consisting of drainage and utility easements.
Second.
Motion by Gilmore, seconded by Renke, as on the action sheet, page 66 for resolution 2020-14. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? None? That carried. All right. Thank you. You have to wait for a little bit yet. All right. 6:45. You're up. Okay. Now we can go back up to item D, liquor store staffing on page 12.
Yes, Your Honor. I have an employee that would like more hours. Zachary Ludwig is asking to go from 14 to 32 hours per week. And this would be continue on after COVID, as my staff gets back down to their normal 4 days a week. I will continue to need the extra help. This year we were budgeted for an extra employee that we've never hired, so this would fill that spot. And it would also, you could use 1 day that another staff member is no longer able to work because of his full-time job. This would help greatly on the weekends. So we're asking for your blessing.
Policies and procedures did talk about it and we approved it. We did also discuss the fact that, you know, obviously there's some familial relationship with this employee and Bill. I think ultimately we decided that given the circumstances and the situation over there, that we didn't have too much of an issue with it. But I don't know, Bill, did we ever, you'd called me with a question regarding some possible miscommunication regarding whether this was temporary or permanent?
We did. I wanted to follow up to make sure that this would go on after COVID. We could really use the help now, but as we get into later time when the staff members that I have go back down from 40 down to 32, as they all have regular jobs that they're now starting to get back into, this would help alleviate that as well. And would give me 4 employees up to 32, which with everybody's requests off for the weekends, and especially with 2 of them not able to work more than 1 day and another person working 1 day every other week, we struggle sometimes on those off weeks to fill that shift. And that's what we're looking for.
I'll make the motion to increase the hours of Zach Ludwig up to 32 hours a week.
Second.
Motion by Herzberg, seconded by Rinky to increase the hours of Zach Ludwig up to 32 hours per week. Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? None? Carried. And in regards to the, the families, like I said, this is a small town and we run into that quite often in situations like this. And we did have a conversation the other day about being sure that staff gets their time off and they can maintain their mental
Yes,
sanity as well too. So
they've done well.
all right. Thank you. We've got a few minutes yet, and off of our update, Bill is going to give us an update on Purdue Pharma bankruptcy notice, and I'm curious as to how we got such a big amount that estimated damages.
If I could explain that to you, I mean, that's just off of the estimator that's been put together for the filing of claims. I have a feeling that the filing of the claim is just something that needs to be done, but I'm guessing that there's going to be a universal settlement out of this bankruptcy, and the numbers that are in that are probably meaningless. I don't expect that you're going to get a check for that at any time in the foreseeable future. But apparently there's a lot of money involved in that settlement nationwide, but I can't imagine that. I mean, I can't answer your question about how they came up with those numbers. I was tempted to look at some other small towns around here and see. I don't know if it takes into consideration the fact that we have a full-time police department, and I just don't know what kind of things it takes into consideration. You look at that calculator and there's no information about what went into the math of coming up with those numbers. But I've talked to a few different people, and I guess basically the consensus seems to be that you should file the individual claim. You could file a claim as part of a group, but they think you're better off getting an individual claim in the long run. That might be beneficial. So I will recommend that we do that. It's not terribly expensive to file a claim. We can find the forms online and get it done.
Well, I move to authorize Bill Spooner to submit whatever claims or take whatever action might be necessary to maximize the return for the city.
Second.
Motion by Rinky, seconded by Herzberg to authorize the city attorney to basically take whatever action necessary to file an individual claim in regards to the Purdue Pharma bankruptcy.
Yep.
Okay.
And does that implicitly authorize the signing by someone from the city? I assume. I can prepare it, but I imagine that the mayor probably needs to sign.
Yep. And authorize signatures.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion or questions? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, none, that carried. And on to old business, item A on page 13 in regards to our favorite topic here, COVID-19. Well, and
We have the application for the mayor to sign for the coronavirus relief fund certification form.
yep.
We are slotted to get a revenue of $189,330,000. However, my understanding is this money we get up front, and we have from March 15th through November 15th to spend that money. We can pay for it. We have 3 months after that date to pay for it. If we don't spend all the money, it goes back to the county. And they have until, I believe, November 15th. No, December, sometime in December to spend it. At this point, we just need that signed to turn it into the state that, yes, we are willing to accept that money. So that's what I need at this point, is just a motion to approve applying for it.
And staff is working diligently to find anything that can be related to COVID-19 as far as expenses.
We are, and actually, last week, the chief called me early one morning, and I wish I had had the idea. It was
Well, you give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely. He asked if we could even potentially push the keyless fobs that we were looking at for City Hall, for the city buildings, into this, because that then makes touchless entries. So I'm going to contact the league and/or the county to see what their thoughts are on that.
There's a lot of discussion too around the city attorney's listserv. At least the majority seems to be of the opinion that you could use it for loans, grants for businesses that were impacted within the city. It doesn't, in the thing that came out from the Department of Revenue, it doesn't seem on its face to indicate that, but the guidance that was issued by the federal government indicates that it can be used to respond to second-order effects of the emergency, such as providing economic support to those suffering from employment or business interruption. So I don't know, I mean, I think that will probably get fleshed out more as the federal guidance on all these things seems to develop slowly and then get added to as time goes by. But that seems to be the thought right now, is that you could use some of that to create grants to help businesses that have been impacted within the municipality. So I don't know, you know, maybe you can use it all up on stuff internal to the functioning of the city, but if you can't, I think you can look at getting some grants out there within the timeline to help where it may be appropriate. I don't know how you you know, we'd have to think about guidelines for how you would do that, who would qualify, and how you would figure out who got them and who didn't, but it seems like it'd be something that would be allowed.
We do have the loans out there that, you know,
Yep.
have not, you know, one's been paid back already, I think, right? Or
Well, no, that was an EDAP loan that
That
was
was-
paid with the COVID loan.
with the COVID money, that's right,
Timeline.
yep.
But potentially we could do lost interest on some of those
Lost
loans.
interest if necessary. I think also the, you know, we talked about refunds of the liquor licenses too. And
Yes.
initially it was not, you know, loss of revenue was not covered, but I think they did say specifically licensing.
Yes,
Would be-
I listened to a webinar.
Revenue replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would this, could you put this where somewhere we come up with a number to help out the businesses for all the PPE and hand sanitizer, all the businesses bought to fight COVID, and use that basically as a grant to the businesses? It wouldn't be a lot, but it would be something, because everybody has a lot of money in buying. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it would be a matter of fleshing out what this all means, but it does say second-order effects of the emergency, such as providing economic support to individuals and employers or businesses due to the COVID-19. It says due to COVID-19 business closures. It doesn't say due to extra costs related. I mean, I'm not convinced that this guidance doesn't change over time, but right now, it seems to be focused on businesses that were required to close.
Okay.
so the webinar that I listened to, at the very end of it, they mentioned economic development assistance, and the only thing at that point that they pointed out that could be reimbursed to businesses was the liquor license fee, because they're looking at that as an expense for the businesses that we could reimburse, not so much a revenue coming into the city. There are going to be other revenues as we go through, or other webinars as we go through this, but that was the one thing they did talk about for economic development assistance for our employees.
Well, first we should get it.
Yeah, that's coming. Yeah, we do have time.
Great, and then, I'd like to do that because it would be really a good thing for the city to be able to reimburse businesses for a little bit. It'd be a good thing.
Whatever.
I'll make a motion to approve the Minnesota Department of Revenue COVID Relief Fund Certificate form and authorize the mayor to sign the document.
Second. Motion by Gilmore, seconded by Rinky, to approve the Minnesota Department of Revenue Coronavirus Relief Fund Certificate form and authorize the mayor to sign the document. Discussion. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? None? That carried. 6:45, and we will recess again the council meeting and call to order the public hearing that has been set to discuss the utility easement vacation request from the Yerkes, or what was Spanier over there, and we're down on page 55. And it's, you're basically got a couple buildings there that got some issues between them, and you want to make some improvements down there, and there's some of those utility easements there that we can possibly vacate, correct?
Yeah, otherwise I'll have to put up a smaller building, so that's basically what
And that's just in between your buildings anyway.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
This,
I think it's similar to the situation we were looking at in that it's a common owner on both of the abutting properties there. There's, as I understand it, there's no utility lines except perhaps a private service that would have to be moved, but there's no utility that serves anybody other than those buildings on that line. And the proposal is to do the same thing except preserving the easement at the very front and the very back of the lot, as it where it abuts the railroad right of way and Main Street.
Yeah. No issues from Public Works?
Nope.
None whatsoever. Any questions for Leon?
No issues from neighbors.
I did have a call from Northern Natural Gas Company. They have a station across the street, and they have no objection to it.
Okay. Anything else for the hearing? Not, we'll close the hearing and reopen the city council meeting, and again, it would be appropriate to deal with this item I, if the council so is inclined to do so.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2020-15 vacating that certain public way consisting of drainage and utility easements in the plat of last excavating addition and notice of completion of proceedings for vacation of public way consisting of drainage and utility easements.
Second. Motion by Gilmore, seconded by Rinky, as on the action sheet, page 55, in regards to resolution 2020-15. Discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. Thanks, Leon.
Thank you.
All right, then item B, fishing pier, the cooperative agreement with the state. Are we done with the coronavirus?
Yep, that was all I had.
That was all you had?
We can bring that back up to the council later on, right? Once we get more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just
We've got time,
need
we're
to
looking at ways to,
submit.
if you got any bright ideas, bring them in. All right, then we'll move on to item B, fishing pier on page 16.
I guess, yes, now that we have it installed, and it's actually a great amenity to the park system out there, had a lot of compliments on it. But they did come back and ask if we do sign the agreement. First of all, on the agreement, the state agreed that they would encumber the funds, but that did include the $5,000 donation from the city and the township each. Installation, they had indicated, yes, they were going to install it, but then with the COVID, they said, well, we will install it, but we don't have manpower right now, so it was pretty much installed by city crews. Ownership, you note there that the ownership does stay with the state of Minnesota. It's pretty much as a 20-year agreement, also noted in there. The one nice thing, the major structural repairs, if there is any floats or anything that does go out on it, just working with them with the boat ramp. On that one, they do supply any of the planking, and here, they will again supply any of the floats or anything major that does go out on it. The one thing that we do have to do yet is bring the ADA compliance trail up to, I think it's about 60, 70 feet of trail that we need to add. Part of it will be temporary from the sand or from the water line up to the top there. That will be a mobile unit where we can pull it in and out each year. And from there, we will connect onto our existing trail. Other than that, it's a great amenity again to the park out there, and I guess I'd see no reason why not to go along with it. The park board had worked on this for years, so it finally came through.
Any idea what the cost would be to make it, the trail extended to the ramp?
The bottom portion of the trail, actually, we're gonna take one of the old docks, take the top off of that, so it's actually only about 20 feet of trail we're gonna need to add, so maybe, I don't know, a couple $1,000.
Not enough to ask the township to,
Well, I guess we can always ask.
and a lot of that's been 50/50 like the dock itself, I guess. I'd be in favor of asking them.
Yeah, it is trail related more so than park related, right? Tying into the trail.
Tying into the trail.
There you go, Neil. Way to go.
I noticed in that agreement, Ron, that we've got to get their approval for any signage.
Correct.
I know somebody brought this up last time about the diving off of that dock, but I would think, you know, whether you can stop people from diving off there or not, but I think just from a liability perspective, it would be smart to get some signage up there saying.
There is.
They're there.
Oh, it's there already?
They're there. Well, we also need a sign saying no lighting off fireworks from the end. I was out there on the Sunday night, and there were a couple that were launched from off there.
Yeah, I think it took them almost one day to start diving off that.
Yeah.
Almost.
Fishing only. Fishing and standing.
Yeah.
I don't know how much effect it'll have, but.
No.
It's still a good day out there.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the Cronus Lake Public Fishing Pier Land Use Operations and Maintenance Cooperative Agreement between the State of Minnesota and the City of Painesville, including Exhibit B, Resolution 2020-13, approving an agreement between the State of Minnesota acting by and through the Commission of Natural Resources in the City of Painesville and authorizing signing of the agreement.
Second.
Motion by Gilmore, seconded by Herzberg. On the action sheet, page 16 there, in regards to the fishing pier land use operations and maintenance cooperative agreement. Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? None? That carried. And since Chuck is here, we'll start talking about some of his stuff.
Sure.
2019 project?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to give you a quick update, that project is nearing completion. All the work has really been complete with the exception of some punch list items. We're continuing to watch the seeding. Obviously, it's been sort of a tough summer for seeding, but actually the rain we have had has helped, and it's very possible they'll have to spray, the contractor will have to spray some weeds as it gets closer to fall when the weather gets a little cooler out. So in your packet is a copy of pay request 10 for the project in the amount of $200,101.19 for work completed during the month of June.
I move to approve payment estimate number 10 payable to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville in the amount of $200,101.19.
Second.
Motion by Rinke, seconded by Gilmore to approve payment estimate number 10 payable to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville, Inc. in the amount of $200,101.19. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried. Anything else on that?
Was there anything on the water credit?
I guess the water credits, I guess we would ask that they be extended through the third quarter of 2020. If you recall, last year, we only had one section that did get complete. The Public Works, we did just discuss adding, because I think we had 12 residents who did go over the $50 cap that we had. They did not make that a recommendation, as most of those people, it looked like, would be watering their entire lawn, not just a portion that was added onto, or rehab. But I guess we would like to extend the credits through third quarter of 2020.
I would move to extend those credits through Q3 of 2020.
Second.
Motion by Rinke, seconded by Herzberg to approve or to extend the water credits for the 2019 street project through the third quarter 2020. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. All right, then the AMPI expansion project.
Yes, just an update on the AMPI expansion project. The new pretreatment facility is in operations. We do continue to work with the contractor to make sure everything is functioning properly. There's a couple bugs that need to be worked out of a couple of the items. That and with some remaining punch list stuff, so that one is nearing completion as well. In your packet is a copy of pay request number 12 for that project for work completed in June in the amount of $78,494.47.
I'll make the motion to approve payment estimate number 12, payable to Eagle Construction Company Incorporated, amount of $78,494.47.
Second.
Motion by Herzberg, seconded by Gilmore to approve payment estimate number 12, payable to Eagle Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $78,494.47. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None, and that carried. And airport T-hanger.
Yes, that project is nearing completion as well. I believe most of the units have been moved into now, so really that all remains in that one is just a few miscellaneous punch list items, so hopefully we'll be following that project out in the near future. In your package, a copy of pay request number 5 for work completed in June in the amount of $68,734.43.
I'll make the motion to approve payment estimate number 5, payable to Voss Plumbing, Heating, and Painsall, amount of $68,734.43.
Second. Motion by Herzberg, seconded by Rinke to approve payment estimate number 5, payable to Voss Plumbing, Heating, and Painsall, in the amount of $68,734.43. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carried. Anything else? All right, very good. Then we have the body-worn camera program.
Thank you. So, the last council meeting, the discussion, the topic came up with body-worn cameras. Obviously, law enforcement has been kind of under a microscope here lately due to some high-profile incidents. The topics of body-worn cameras continues to kind of be at the forefront of that. I reached out to a couple of our legislators here this last week just to kind of discuss where things were at and where they thought things were heading with the special session. To be honest with you, I got mixed reviews on where they're going. Don't know what's going to happen, if there's going to be funds available, if they're not. I did impress upon both of our representatives from this area the importance of funding, and if they're going to mandate body cameras, that they also fund at least part of it because of the significant expense. Like we discussed at the last meeting, if the city of Painesville wishes to proceed with the body-worn cameras, there are some steps that we do have to take before we can even consider those. Specifically, we have to take some input from the city or from the residents and just kind of give them an opportunity to communicate their thoughts on it. We have to do that before we purchase anything. We have to have a second opportunity for residents to give their input and comments at a live council meeting. And then the third one is to give them an opportunity to give their comments and input as to the policy. So what I have before you guys is kind of what I see as far as an outline to move forward. What I would like to do is I would like to get us in a position that if the state does open up funds for those, that we can do it. I was able to get a quote on the system. WatchGuard has finally integrated their two systems, so our squad video and body cams will function, which is the big hang up right now that we're looking at. For the city of Painesville, for us to have 6 cameras, which would be 1 for each officer and 1 to be kind of a spare, and then 1 to be shared with the part-timers. A server the wireless download capabilities and the redaction software that would be needed in training, we're at just under $32,000. The biggest part of that's redaction software. I am trying to work with other agencies, local agencies, to see if they go with it, if they're willing to partner with us, so we can maybe defer some of those costs. But there will be quite the expense, you know, for it. So I'd like to be able to be ready to go if those funds become available, submit our application, and have kind of all the red tape out of the way.
On your number one up here, comments and input may be submitted to the chief by email or written submission. Do the comments have to go to the chief, or can they go just to the city hall?
The reason I have them sent to me is so that as I start looking at policies, as I start looking at those things, you know, I can kind of formulate them and then present them to you guys, all the comments that come in at the August 10th meeting.
I'm just thinking some people won't if they're going to you. Maybe not. I don't know. Am I thinking wrong?
I don't know. Good point.
I don't have anything against it. I'm just saying that it might deter some people from giving their comments.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could say through the police department or city hall. And just do.
Right, I just was one.
Yeah, one or the other in both.
Yeah.
And then the two can sit down and compare notes before presenting to council. But I think we should go and even just do it before the money is available. There's 30,000 sitting in police funds that the way I understand the numbers could be used. So that's a pretty minimal expense above and beyond what might already be available. We can sit and wait for the legislature to figure out their stuff all day long. It doesn't sound like they're going to this year. So there's no reason not to do these. I think we should just get going, and with the change to number one, that they be submitted to City Hall or the police department, I would then move to approve the proposed schedule for comments and input on a body-worn camera program for the Painesville Police Department.
I'll second that. That was a motion, correct?
It was.
Yes.
With amended to number one to be City Hall or...
We do have a motion to approve the proposed schedule for comments and input on a body-worn camera program for the Painesville Police Department with the change that in number one, that it be comments submitted to the chief or City Hall by email or written submission, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried.
I do have one question back. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. On your software and so forth, is there going to be a user agreement? You know that's a yearly?
So we will have an annual licensing agreement with them. In talking with our rep, we're looking at probably about $2,000 a year for the licensing agreement.
Everything's on subscription and or Wi-Fi and or server space and or...
So what we're looking at right now, and what I had him quote out for me, is a specific server that's going to be located at the PD. That server is about $6,000 with another $600 and some in extended warranty for 5 years. I'm not a huge fan of the cloud, but depending upon what the cloud cost may be, you know, that their servers that they have to comply with BCA regulations as well.
Security.
So I'm a little less leery on that, and if our costs, I mean, it's gonna be a backed up server, so all of our stuff's gonna be backed up. It'll be kind of a web-based thing, I believe. So I'm gonna look at that and see if that brings our cost down a little bit. We're just gonna have that yearly fee for that.
Right. And then you have to figure out how long you have to keep the videos, because then you're going to use up terabytes of space.
And I believe, I want to say we were looking at a 20 terabyte server right now. We're looking at a wireless download, so what that means is when the squads of body cameras are, say, behind the police department, they will automatically download Right now, our squad cameras are flash drive driven, meaning anytime I want to pull a video off, I'm taking the flash drives out, I'm plugging them into the computer, I'm putting them on the hard drives, and it's very labor intensive.
How long do you gotta keep the videos?
So, what's that? I believe some of it's 90 days.
Really?
Yeah, some of it is longer than that. It depends upon the nature of the video. Things that go to court obviously have to be kept longer than that. I didn't do a deep dive into the specifics on the retention yet. As I start working off of, when it comes to the policy, we'll work with policies and procedures, but work off of the League of Minnesota Cities model policy on it. But I want to say what I read was 60 to 90 days. Our current policy on the squads are 6 months on anything that's like on just a generic traffic stop. We'll keep those for 6 months. And
Okay, so that it won't be like a 5-year, 10-year like paperwork and so forth. Because then you have to budget for more hard drives is the concept I had rolling.
yeah, as it sits right now, I have a 12 terabyte external hard drive sitting on my desk, along with a 4 or 8, and that's just for the squad cameras. Luckily, the 12 is not anywhere near full yet, so. But I'm hoping that with the new software, especially integrating over to body cams, there may be something that we can automatically, log in and say, look, after 9 months, this can go. We are going to be required to have biannual audits on these. So, as part of those audits, it's going to make sure we're getting rid of videos on the timeline that's prescribed. I can tell you right now, it is extremely labor intensive to delete those other ones. We probably have some that are sitting there, beyond that 6 months. It just,
Right.
it's going through every single video to see where it's at, and we got a lot of videos.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's it for our agenda. Other than informational, we have the March through June Fire Department report on page 75, the June Police Department reports, page 77, and then we will be going into closed session to determine an offer on real property located at 810 Deekman Drive, Block 4, Block 2, Deekman Business Park, Plat 2, parcel number 70.38748.0030. And we're asking our city attorney to stay, asking our liquor store manager, I don't think you need to stay there, chief, okay? Asking, we probably should have Chuck stay here too, so yeah. We'll try and get you home before dark. And the